Hello everyone. So I thought I'd make another video. It's been a little while, so sorry about that, but here I am. So I just want to do a quick video on, in case this is the first time you're seeing this, or maybe if you have some questions. What is cirrhosis of the liver? What is liver disease in general? Um, well, in most cases, liver disease starts with what's called fatty liver disease. Fatty liver disease, well, is just that. It's the liver. From a lot of times, it happens from eating a lot of fast foods, possibly drinking, over-the-counter medicines, genetics can do it. There's a lot of different things that lead to that. And there's usually no symptoms. So it's the swelling of the liver. The tissue becomes, well, fatty. It becomes larger, and so that's the beginning. And then it can lead into fibrosis. Fibrosis as well is basically where the liver starts to harden. You start to get some scar tissue. Fibrosis usually is reversible as well, as long as you change your diet, limit your alcohol consumption, watch what you're taking into yourself, drugs, medicines, things like that. It can be reversible as well with exercise and cutting out maybe some fast food, maybe cooking natural foods at home a little bit more. We do live in a society where everything's, fast right now. We have the world at the palm of our hands on our cell phones now. We can look up anything. We can order anything from our couches. We can even order food from our couch and have it delivered to us. So we do live in that age. So this disease is growing more and more. Well, because of that, that's one of the contributing factors to this disease growing and becoming more common. They actually say somewhere around 50% of Americans have some kind of fatty liver disease, which is astounding. And that number is growing. So it's kind of crazy if you think about it, that, this is happening as an epidemic. It's starting to become more prevalent. Now, like I said, fatty liver disease, some people could have that for their entire life and, never have a symptom. Other than maybe being a little more tired and not having as much energy, things like that. But, some people do live with that for a long time, but it is a gateway to worse situations. So anyway, so you got the fibrosis, which comes next, and then you have compensated cirrhosis. That is when the liver it gets irreversible damage. That's when you start getting a lot more scar tissue. And that liver, it's still functioning. Compensated means that it's still functioning. However, though, it is damaged and the damage is irreversible. And that can lead into decompensated cirrhosis, which is when the liver stops doing all of its functions. That's when you start getting your more serious side effects like ascites, fluid on the legs, fluid on the stomach. In my case, I got a bunch of fluid on my right lung over and over again, to the point where they actually put a chest tube in at one point. Then I sat with that chest tube for a month. So once you get to that decompensated cirrhosis, the only option at that point in time would be a liver transplant. And there's a lot of things involved in that. One, it's a large, scary surgery for sure. But you also have to be at a certain point. I like to joke you had to be close to your deathbed to get to get a transplant. I mean, obviously, if you have the money and you have, $500,000, sitting around, you could probably get one easier. But most people don't have that, so they're relying on insurance and things like that to save their life. And they also base it on who's worse. The worse you are, the more chance you are of getting that liver transplant. However, though, decompensated cirrhosis. So if you have that, you could be going through a few different things. You could be going through some pretty serious side effects. Varices are veins in your esophagus that can burst and start bleeding into your stomach. And the only way to take care of those is they have to go in through an endoscopy, an EGD, and they have to band these, and that creates scar tissue. And those scar tissues could be an issue down the road. I've had about 9 of those. Also, like I said, the fluid buildup, things like that. You wind up being really weak, tired, not having the energy. Just recently, for me, I've having to give up driving because it has affected my brain to the point where it's hard for me to keep the car in the center lane, especially at higher speeds, and I get tired really easy driving. 15 minutes of driving, I'm almost falling asleep. So I had to make the decision to stop driving, which is tough. It's especially hard to give up a freedom like that. But for me, it was a reality, and it just wasn't safe, so I had to make that decision. Wasn't an easy one, of course, but had to be done. So, but with your decompensated cirrhosis, can you live with that? Yes. How long you have, no one really knows. They do say when you're decompensated, when you get to that final stage, that the average person lives about 2 years, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. I'm coming up on 2 years since diagnosis here in May, and I'm still going. A lot of people look at me and say, "You look fine." Well, the organ's on the inside, not on the outside. And most of the time I'm tired, I'm worn down. Sometimes I'll spend days in bed. One other side effect is sleepless nights. I probably went about 2.5 weeks without being able to sleep. Finally, last night I was able to get some sleep, which was a bonus. I've gained some kind of cold or something in the process, which is even more positive. But hey, so if you have that decompensated cirrhosis, start eating well. 6 small meals a day. You may not be able to eat a large meal at once because you might get an upset stomach. Start doing it to where maybe you have 6 smaller meals, high in protein. I use like Greek yogurt, because Greek yogurts can have like up to 15 grams of protein in them. You eat 2 of those, that's 30 grams right there. So that's a good start. Eggs got some good protein in them. Any kind of meats are good protein. Chicken's got really good protein. Pork and chicken's got more protein than beef does. However, though, you still get your protein from beef. Beef jerky, that's got a lot of protein in it. Protein bars, they can be kind of expensive and not taste the best, but it is something that can help you. Protein drinks, like Ensures. I happen to like the strawberry one. I'm not a big fan of the chocolate or the vanilla one, but the strawberry's not bad. That's my preference. But they are kind of expensive as well. You could, essentially buy protein powders and make your own shakes. You got that option as well, but you definitely want to keep your protein up. And you want to eat some fresh vegetables. You want your B12s and your vitamins to be up there to keep your body going. And a lot of those good vegetables have a lot of those different nutrients in it. I don't eat many like carbs because they don't really give me anything as far as what I need to survive. I know they give energy, yes, but so does protein. But like noodles, things like that, I will have noodles as a side, but I'll take more meat than the noodles just because, I require that to be able to continue surviving, because your body stops making the proteins. You take your protein in, and those proteins do things like help fight off infections. They give you energy, help your cells regenerate. They do a lot of different things, and when your liver stops processing that protein into albumin, which is what is used for the energy consumption, then your body starts eating itself, like your muscles. Your heart's a muscle too, so keep that in mind. one of the common things is too with cirrhosis is people, they lose their muscle mass. You know, some people were like, you know, bodybuilders or really strong, and next thing you know, they were lost a lot of their muscles. I used to have a lot of muscles. I used to work in the automotive field, and you know, I could lift up some engines and large heavy things, and then at one point I couldn't even push myself up out of the bathtub, you know, because it had eaten away at my muscles so bad. I've gotten some of those muscles back since then, which is positive. So but you got to keep going. You got to keep positive. That's so important if you have cirrhosis. Find something you enjoy doing, whatever that may be, a hobby. You know, if it's drawing, draw. If you want to write, write. You know, write poems. I write some poems here and there. You know, there's different things that you can do that, you know, can keep your time up, to keep your mind off those bad thoughts. Because a positive mind most definitely helps in the process. Stress is not good for the body, and if you're overly stressed, well, that's going to take more of a toll on the body, and your body's already having a toll taken on it. So now you're compiling stuff. So, and I know it's easier said than done, especially when you're dealing with, you know, a disease that's not curable. You know, it does get mentally exhausting. You know, you get those thoughts in your mind of, you know, upset that you can't do the things you used to be able to do. You know, your freedoms, your, you know, the abilities that you used to have, like going to maybe a zoo or walking around for 3 or 4 hours, where you can't do that now. You're out of energy, and, you know, 15 minutes and you got to sit down and take a break. But that's okay. I mean, take your breaks, you know, just as long as you get out and do something. That's so important. If you like to fish, go fishing. If you want to go golfing, you know, hit a couple rounds. You might not be able to get all 18 rounds done, but, you know, a few, you know, and then next time hit them again, and you know, keep going, and just keep staying active. It's so important. I have just an update with my health situation. Recently, I've gotten, they found gallbladder stones, which is dangerous because the gallbladder is connected to the liver, and if it gets plugged, then that can cause the bile buildup even further. And since my liver doesn't work right, that can get even worse. So that's a dangerous situation. I have an appointment with my liver specialist next week, so I'll be bringing that up and see if it's something they want to remove the gallbladder or not. Anytime you have a liver cirrhosis, they're very hesitant on doing any kind of surgery on you because of the fact that you could bleed out and not clot. Oh, one of the things too is cirrhosis. Your platelet counts usually go down, and which means it limits your ability to be able to clot. So you could bleed and not stop bleeding. Also, infection. You're at higher risk for infection when you got a bad liver. So a lot of times they don't want to do any kind of surgery on you. So I will find out what they say, and I will update everyone then. So other than that, I'm trying to stay positive, keep fighting on, keep going, not giving up, doing what I can to keep going, you know, and that's the important thing. You know, find something positive to latch on to and stick to it. So, all right, everyone, take care. Have a wonderful, blessed week or weekend or whatever it may be for you, and take care. Bye now.